Hi, my name is Rick DeAndrea, and I'm going to be going over how to solve the explain your solution problem, and I used problem 2 as my reference. So first, to start off, I have to solve the original problem, to which I set the vector like this, with this being body weight, set to 500 newtons, in a clockwise torque with a 0.06 meter moment arm, and then HAF stands for hip abductor force, which is unsolved for we have to solve, but we have the moment arm of 0.04 meters. And at the end, we have to find the prosthetic hip reaction force, or the joint reaction force if he wasn't in a prosthesis. I also just want to add that body weight is acting in an adduction torque, while the hip abductors are acting in an abduction torque. And that has a counterclockwise force. So in order to solve, we know internal torque is equal to external torque, and external torque equals body weight times moment arm, which gives you 500 newtons times 0.06 meters equals 30 newton meters. Then to find hip abductor force, you have to divide that value by the moment arm for the hip abductors, because internal torque is set equal to external torque, which gives you 750 newtons. So PHRF is the summation of the forces acting on the axis, but in an equal and opposite direction. So that gives you a total downward force of, I used negatives to set the downward force equal to, of negative 1250 newtons after you add the new hip abductor force you found and the body weight force. And then you set that opposite, so add a negative sign in front, and you get a joint reaction force of 1250 newtons in an upward direction, or a compression force on the joint. Now this is the vector for problem 2. When you add the cane force on the contralateral cane, it's a 25 newton force with a 0.4 meter moment arm in a counterclockwise direction. The hip abductor force is still unknown and still in a counterclockwise direction, and body weight is still 500 newtons in a clockwise direction. Also here, the cane force is acting with the hip abductors, giving an abduction torque, and the body weight is still acting in an adduction torque. So again, internal torque is set equal to external torque. External torque is body weight times moment arm. External torque equals 500 newtons times 0.06 meters, or the moment arm for body weight. And now subtracting the cane force, because it's acting in a counterclockwise direction against the body weight, which gives you a total of 20 newton meters. And then the hip abductor force is now set equal to 20 newton meters divided by 0.04 meters, which gives you 500 newtons total. Now in order to calculate the total downward force, I kept the downward force is still as negative, which gives you negative 500 plus negative 500, which would be 1,000. But then since the cane force is acting upward, I have to subtract 25 newtons, but since it's already set to a negative, I add them instead to get a total downward force of negative 975 newtons. And then the joint reaction force would be the opposite of that, so negative 975 newtons, or 975 newtons in an upward direction, or compression on the joint. This represents a total decrease of 275 newtons from the original value of 1250, and there's the equation for it. And that represented a 22% decrease in the joint compression reaction force. So this represents an overall decrease in joint reaction force, showing that contralateral cane is more beneficial than the original standing position.